Hey everybody, this is Richard Rowland, and what the heck, guys? So, as you're probably aware, if you follow me on this channel or anywhere else online, I've been working for quite some time now on a tabletop role-playing game set in the same world as the Amboria, that is in the world under Starlight. So the role-playing game is called Amboria Role-Playing in the World Under Starlight. It is being published by Strange Owl Games, and we launched our Kickstarter yesterday at about 10 a.m. 5 hours later, we were funded, which is crazy. It's insane. I don't know what to say except thank you all so very much for believing in me, for believing in Strange Owl, for believing in this project. Actually, just as heartwarming as the money has been just all the wonderful notes and messages. Like, I've received more than I can count now. So many wonderful notes and messages from people just saying, basically, hey, thanks for trying to make something beautiful. More people need to be doing things like this. That kind of a message. So, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to be a thing. And the great thing is that we're now over our initial funding goal. We're currently sitting right around 137% funded. So what that means is that we have the opportunity to make this really cool by doing kind of a bunch of upgrades and adding things. Obviously, those of you who are familiar with Kickstarters, and we've had a significant number of people. Like, Kickstarter will, you can see the stats. I mean, it's public information. Everyone can see, what percentage, what number of people have backed a project before, and what number of people haven't backed a project. And one of the most surprising things about this has been how many people are backing this project that have never backed a Kickstarter before. So, hey, thanks for making this your first one. For those of you who don't know, Kickstarters have something called stretch goals, which is at certain increments. Every time we get over a certain amount above the initial funding goal, then we add something on. So we're getting cool things like a solo adventure that I originally wrote for our Patreon subscribers, now going to be available to everyone as a reward. We're going to get an add-on PDF of some of the books of odes, which are in the other room, or I would show you guys the book. But it's like the poetry. It's all the liturgy, right? It's the liturgy for. That PDF is gonna actually be the first and second books of odes. So that'll be the first book of odes, which is 30 odes in length, and then a second PDF, which will be a second PDF, which will be the second book of odes, which is basically like the liturgy, what in liturgical terminology you would call the propers for the first quarter of the year. So that's going to be something that you'll be able to just use in your game. And there are 3 more books of odes, and I think there's a very good chance you guys are going to get to see them all. So that's great. And those will be PDFs, but there's also an effort that we're undertaking to get some of that stuff in print as well via team up with Darkly Bright Press. So I'll talk more about that in another video, because that's going to be the really cool next World Under Starlight project that drops after this. But it won't be a Kickstarter; it'll just be a book that you could buy. But I'm really excited about that. And we've got some other things like upgrades to the book. So the books will both have ribbons. If you're not a book person, you'll have, like, maybe that doesn't sound like a big upgrade to you, but like anybody who's used these RPG books and you're flipping back and forth and things like this, and really if you're just into books in general, you appreciate what a nice upgrade the ribbons are. So we've got that, and we've got a bunch of more cool things coming down the pipe. I think our next three stretch goals are going to be an STL file. This is made by our great friend Aaron Sizer, who's been following the project for quite some time. Aaron, Sizerworks, I'll link to his stuff down below. He has made an STL file of one of the coolest like character types. The game doesn't have classes, but one of the coolest character types in the setting, which is the Red Fang Knights. The Red Fang Knights are like the most elite fighting force of the Amborian Kingdom, though don't tell that to the Royal Guard. There's bad blood between them, mostly because the Red Fang Knights kick their butts. But anyway, it's a 3D printable STL file, and it's going to be available in like a few different versions. So if you've got a 3D printer, or you want to send it off to a print-on-demand kind of a company, you can just send them the STL file and have it printed up, and you can have like a really legit-looking Amboria Mini. It's really cool, and so I'm excited about that. And then we also have some beautification things that we'll be able to add. We'll be able to make the cover of the books nicer. We'll be able to add more interior art, those kinds of things. So the crazy thing is, we're at 137% funded. We still got 38 days to go on this. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you guys is that they made this a level on the Kickstarter called Heroes Errant, and basically if you back at this level, and it's limited to 25 spots, if you back at this level, you get to play a game with me, and we're going to basically organize those into, it'll be like a 4-hour session, maybe a little longer, but a 4-hour session of 5 people at a time. And I've seen lots of Kickstarters do things like this, and typically speaking, people don't sign up for them. Like, it's just, maybe you get 1 or 2 people. All 25 of those spots went basically within the first 8 hours of the Kickstarter. So you guys are amazing. Like, holy cow. The fact that there's just that many people who want to not just play this game, but play it with me is really humbling and really exciting. And I have been racking my brain for the last 24 hours, and I have come up with the coolest idea. I'm not just going to run off one-off sessions for you guys. I am going to interlink all of our sessions into an amazing campaign that will actually be the next stage of the history of In the World Under Starlight, a war called, basically a civil war taking place in the lands around the sea called the Midnight War. And my plan is to link all of our sessions together, so that you'll actually be taking part in the various factions and actions, battles and espionage and everything else in the Midnight War. And basically, the way that goes is going to have an impact on like the long-term setting and future books and stuff like that. So to that end, at the urging of the publisher, they really had to twist my arm on this one. But we've opened up some more Hero Errant slots. They're a little more expensive now, just because we want to make sure those people who got in the door really, get their value for that. But there are some more Hero Errant spots open up now. So if for some reason you didn't get one of those 25 and you want to up your pledge or go ahead and pledge and get involved in the Midnight War, I'm going to pull out all the stops because I'm just totally blown away by everybody's love and support, and I want to pull out all the stops to make it really, really worth your while. So the other thing that I want to mention is that I have been hard at work last night and a little bit again this afternoon. I've been hard at work to basically make a reward for everybody who's backed the project, no matter what level you backed it at, if you've given $1 or $100. And I'll just tell you what it is. It's going to be the Elder Lay of Semkan, which is a recently. One second. Sorry about that. It's my lunch break and kids are doing things. So I have a poem that I wrote. It's actually the same kind of subject matter as the Amboria, but it's about a 700-ish line poem called The Elder Lay of Semkan, which actually gives a lot more detail into the rise of Semkan. Who is he? Where did he come from? How did he forge the Huar Orupem, etc. I've been working on it since last August, actually. I started composing it when I was in Lithuania, and then just hit a wall and couldn't finish it, and then a few weeks ago, it just all came to me. It was a really beautiful thing, and for several days, even though I had other stuff I needed to work on, writing-wise, so I usually write with my coffee in the mornings before the workday starts. when even though I had other things I needed to be writing, like stuff for the Kickstarter, I just couldn't put the pen down. And so I finished it, and the other night we had some people over, and normally we read Dante's The Divine Comedy on Friday nights at my house, but this week some people were missing, and so, or that particular week some people were out, so we just read, I said, hey, would you guys mind if I read this poem to you? And it was an amazing experience. I mean, it was also like there was a big storm rolling in. We usually meet outside I have a big fire pit, like a big 6-foot fire pit in my backyard. And so we normally meet out there, but a storm was rolling in. The storm was rolling in, and the wind was blowing really hard. It was like blowing the fire out and things like this. So at some point, I'm standing there over the fire, yelling at the top of my lungs about the forging of the Hua'orupeim and the defeat of the 5 monstrous kings of the Black Hills. And I'm like yelling over this gale force wind, and it was a really cool moment. And anyway, people loved it. So what I've done is I've done some editing to it, and I've also written an introduction that if you've read the Akbarita, you'll be familiar with the kind of like scholarly tone of the introduction that basically tells you everything you need to know about the poem. What's cool about the poem as well is that I have tried to footnote it throughout, so if this is your first introduction to the world under Starlight, maybe you backed it, but you haven't you backed the Kickstarter, but you haven't read Akbarita, and you don't know a lot about the setting. Basically, all of the allusions that I thought would be confusing to a new person, I have tried to supplement with footnotes. So it's like annotated, printed out. It's about 21 pages long. It'd be more than that in book form. So here's what we're doing. It is currently, even as we speak, in the hands of the Strange Owl editors, who are going to give it a quick editorial pass, and then they're going to do some layout and some stuff and make it really pretty. And that's going to be a PDF that we're just going to give to you, the backers of this Kickstarter, because you're awesome. And I mean, this is the kind of thing that could have just been a stretch goal. It could be an add-on or whatever, but I just want to give it to you guys because as a way to say thank you. I don't know how else to say thank you except in poetry. So this is what we're going to do. Also, there have been some requests for, how does somebody put it? Richard tells me stories as I go to sleep. In other words, audio versions of some of the Amborian stories. So I'm going to do that. I don't know if some of them will be available as like stretch goals for the Kickstarter or add-ons. Got to talk to the publisher about that. But I am planning today, after the workday is over, I'm planning on recording the Elder Lay of Senkan in its entirety, and I will also make that available to backers of the Kickstarter, no matter if you backed at $1 or $5 or whatever. Again, just as a way of saying thank you. This is really exciting. It's completely outperformed anything that I thought would be possible in the first 24 hours, and I can't wait to see where things go from here. So, thank you all very much. You're a bunch of maniacs. When you say things like poetry-based RPGs or something like that, like a lot of people, that's a pretty niche kind of a thing. I don't know. I'm a little baffled, and I'm very humbled, and I'm very excited to share all of this with you guys. There are going to be a lot more updates. I'll try to do videos every couple of days during the Kickstarter just to let people know where things are at. Going to try not to wear out people's patience by constantly talking about it, but it is pretty exciting, and the more people we have back, the more cool things I can give you. So please let your friends know if they're into this sort of thing. Okay. Thank you.